President in our Sydney studios. Max, great to have you aboard again.
Great to be here.
And
it's certainly a great day's racing again at Randwick yesterday.
And down south we have Keith Hillier. Keith, that man Freedman and that man King did it again.
Well, they did, David. Count Shivers in the Sydney Cup brought up 10 Group 1 wins for Lee Freedman this season, and he later made it 11. 5 consecutive years he's done that. Count Shivers yesterday was the equine Greg Norman. He was the class act. He was all alone. He was just head and shoulders above his rivals. One of the most impressive and dominant Sydney Cup wins for a long time.
Greg Hall would be ruining his suspension at the moment. Stephen King has really done the job over the last 6 or 7 days for Lee Freedman.
Yes, I think Greg Hall would be ruining the 50,000 and the legal fees and a few other aspects too. But earlier I think we felt, Keith, that it was the season of the horse. But I'm starting to think it's the season of the trainer, and I refer to Lee Freedman there. He's had a great run, he's had a great sustained run, and what a marvellous record he has. And the overwhelming fact with it is there is more to come.
Yeah, that's true, Max. We'll see footage later of a trainer winning his first Group 1 race. Lee Freedman's done it 67 times in his 13-year career. Most trainers aspire to win one. Multiple wins are a bonus. 67 times is just something freakish. So I think you're right, giving credit to Lee.
And the jockey as well, Stephen King, ran a superb race yesterday.
Yes, it was a funny track yesterday. It was officially listed as slow, but horses that normally don't handle rain-affected ground seem to get through it okay. Count Shivers was one. You couldn't imagine Count Shivers being better. Lee Freedman was a little bit concerned before the race, though, wasn't he? Yes,
whether he'd handle the track.
Keith, Count Shivers has a couple of blemishes on a rain-affected track, but he was always travelling beautifully for King yesterday, and Stephen rode a very, very well-judged race over the metric 2 miles, which isn't an easy distance to run. This is where jockeyship does count.
That's true, Max, and after so many distance races, there are a plethora of hard luck stories. There was none yesterday, none that had any substance anyway, because it was Count Shivers' race. The win of Count Shivers surely was a premature Melbourne Cup trial, but looking back through records, horses like Galilee in the mid-60s have won both Cups, but the last horse to win a Sydney Cup and then go on and win the Melbourne Cup in the same calendar year was Carbine in 1890, so...
you were there, Max, weren't you?
Max was there, and he wasn't in short pants.
But the point is, the runner-up here, Bandit, is a very interesting horse too. Only having his 10th start, and obviously he's a stayer to be watched very closely with a top man, John Wheeler, who knows how to get the best out of stayers, out of any horses actually.
The performance of Electronic yesterday, Keith?
Well, she was disappointing, heavily back too, into 11-4, I think, at the finish, and that's Cornwall King, the Victorian stayer, leading them around the home turn. His trainer, Steve Richards, was super confident before the race, and Cornwall King ran well, but when it mattered, it was Count Shivers. Looked like Shivers Regal against some home brew in the finish.
Class, it does tell, and here you're going to get an example of that. Note the horse in the dark colours coming along the fence now. That's Boart, another who normally doesn't handle rain-affected tracks, and Boart is in the worst part of the ground there yesterday.
Strong win, reasonably well weighted with hindsight, and a little bit of a flourish of the whip there from Stephen. He was obviously elated.
Yes, and Mr. Ray Murray, he had a little flourish after the race and fined Stephen $200. Not for the flourish of the whip, but for flourishing it before the finish. He did say to Stephen, what would happen if you flourished your whip at the home turn, to which the jockey replied, well, I'm not that confident.
And Alf Matthews got time after the Cup.
Yes, for forcing Electronic out. I don't think it made any difference to the result of the race, but Ray Murray, he maintains that jockeys should not interfere with rivals just because they're trying to get out into better ground.
I watched another race there yesterday, Max. I'm not sure whether it was the Oaks or a demolition derby at Randwick Speedway.
What? Keith, you're not insinuating there that our racing is rough?
Yeah, but that's obvious reference to Salius?
Yes, well, Salius, I mean, I think she was a beaten filly at the time, so it pushed her back to 12th at the finish. But gosh, it was rough there. That's Ken Bell winning, giving Justin Sheehan and what's Robinson? Kevin Robinson. Yeah, former trotting trainer. He won the Inter-Dominion in Auckland in the 80s, didn't he, with First Lee?
Well, it was a good day for Justin Sheehan. He also won on Mr Piper at the meeting yesterday too. But the All-Age Stakes and Flying Spur Max probably now really showing the true form, but is it too late?
Yeah, well, he's just got it all together, and Flying Spur looks likely to go to Brisbane for the rich sprints up there. But I do think that the Friedman brothers would like another crack at him next season. But this is the real Flying Spur, and it's good to see that finally he has got his act together. Let's hope he can keep it that way, because this is just what a good horse he can be on his day.
Yeah, there's the Golden Slipper Flying Spur back to his best and beating a great sprinter mile or two in sprint by. You may have caught a glimpse just at the back of the screen there of March Hare breaking down hopelessly. We lost March Hare from that race yesterday, and that was quite tragic, Max.
Yes, that's racing, Keith, and you'll get the glory, but you'll also get the downside.
Talking about glory, John Wheeler is a man that has dominated the Oakbank meeting, the steeple on Monday again, there to the fore. What is this, 4 in a row for him now, Keith?
He's been there 4 times. He's won this race, the Great Eastern Steeplechase.
And he quinelled it as well.
Absolutely, and he quinelled the consolation event too 2 days earlier. John Wheeler will be wondering why he didn't discover Oakbank years ago. I don't think he's had a beaten runner. I don't think he's contested a race that he hasn't won at Oakbank, and here he is again with this very talented chaser, and also providing the runner-up. This is this is a piece of Australiana, Oakbank. It attracts a crowd that is probably beaten only by the Melbourne Cup. People flock there days before the race. We're getting glimpses of the crowd as they're watching this marvellous race. It's been going on for a century or more, and it's a marvellous sight. It should go around the world and show racing back to its grassroots, back to its basics.
It is unfortunate, David, that a piece of Australiana must be dominated so much by a New Zealander, but that's the way it is.
But you can't get a better man than JW, I can tell you.
Absolutely. Talking about international, Max and David, next Saturday at Moonee Valley, we've got the inaugural Crown Asia Pacific Challenge. And we've got the top rider from Hong Kong, the top apprentice there, Simon Lim. We've got South Africa's champion, Jeff Lloyd. He rode 314 winners in one season, and for the first time a jockey from Thailand, and he's bringing over a cheer squad of 30. It's going to be a great day at the Valley here in Melbourne next Saturday.
Doesn't he really exude delight when he's talking about those internationals?
You can see that. Well, he's the jet setter, aren't you?
Well, yes, I hope so.
Yeah. Keith, thanks very much for joining. Look forward to your thoughts again next week.
Good on you, David.
Before
Bye,
we
Max.
go, Maxie, a few for the people at home?
Ken Bell, trained by Kevin Robinson. Perhaps Kevin doesn't figure all that much in the Group 1 successes, but a great trainer. You saw that yesterday. Eureka Jewel, another lightly raced filly who will get better, and the Bandit JW's go, and certainly the Bandit could win a race like the Brisbane Cup.
Okay, Max.